And APB, American Protection Bureau, voted #1 best on Long Island for all your security needs. Call 631-390-9050. That's 631-390-9050. APB.
Out Superstar Graham, you got Superstar Graham win 3-2. I mean, overall influence on the industry. Roman Reigns has made more money for wrestling than any wrestler has ever had in their entire life.
We didn't ask who was richer. We asked who had more impact.
That's
on
overall
the
influence on the industry. You've influenced the industry.
It's not that simple for me, but
all right, good enough. All right, well, we got another barn burner because now we've got you picked some good ones there, Jimmy.
Yeah, I did this on purpose. Go ahead.
Cody Rhodes will be facing Bob Backlund.
The two greatest face champions I can remember. I mean, for Cody, I haven't seen a face champion like this since Bob, in my opinion.
You keep saying it, and let's see what we got. All right. What do you open it up with, Bob?
You want to do Mike skills?
Sure.
Cody. It's not even close.
Wait a minute. Hold on.
Oh, God.
Listen, I go with Cody, too, but it's not that easy because you're looking at Bob Backlund, the champion. What about Mr. Backlund? There is something there.
Yeah,
let's not discredit Bob as Mr. Backlund.
There's Mr. Backlund. Yes, there is. But, I mean, Mr. Backlund versus Cody Rhodes' promos over the last 7 years? No.
Again,
no.
It's not like Cody, that's it. Remember something. Cody, AEW, refining his skills. Mr. Backlund, I'll give it to Cody. But again, I'll go back to the last part. You go, someone wrote that for Roman. Well, someone's writing Cody's lines too, right?
I don't think
Backlund
Cody
didn't have his lines written for him.
This is where I disagree. I don't think that Cody is being spoon-fed one line after another, nor do I think CM Punk is.
But Roman is. But Roman is.
Not necessarily. I don't know.
That's what you said.
Level.
You said that just on the last before.
No,
you said
what I
he's
said
being fed a storyline.
What I said is that Roman has benefited from great booking and storylines being written patiently and correctly for him. I didn't say anything about whether or not Roman Reigns is being force-fed lines. And once upon a time he was, and we had suffering succotash. So do I think that he has the right to and is applying his own talk sometimes? Yeah, I do. I do. And I don't think any one of those three are being spoon-fed lines.
Well, it's clear that some of the more tenured guys aren't being fed lines. Or they're giving more of like, this is what you need to speak about. Hit it on the head. Make sure you hit these key points, that type of thing. But yeah, no, I agree with you. There's no doubt that Cody is over Bob as Mike skills. I just don't think it was like, Cody, that's it. Because Mr. Backlund
come on,
was enjoyable on the mic.
Mr. Backlund was very irritating. I guess that was his job.
Yeah.
But Mr. Backlund was okay. He was good. It was much
fun.
better than what was Mr.
It was Mr. Backlund.
It was okay,
it was
but
good.
It wasn't what Cody did with the last two programs.
Wait, Jimmy, let me ask you something. Are you hanging on every one of Cody's fucking words?
No.
What do you want to talk about? I mean,
but I never ever hung on anything Backlund ever said, even as Mr. Backlund, anything. So,
listen again. I agree with you. I just don't think it's like it's such a cut and dry thing. Like you can make a case that Mr. Backlund was pretty good. But anyway, okay, let's go. Matt skills.
Roman good, superstar bad. Rah.
Matt
Cody
skills.
Bad, Bob Backlund good.
Cody, Bob Backlund, Matt skills.
Bob, not even close.
Why? Why is that not even close? Because he was a real wrestler.
Because of a couple of different reasons. Bob Backlund was the best, true or false, at the time for 6 years or so, was the best technical wrestler in the company. Period. He was. And on top of it, if it got real, he'd pin you too. Yes, there's always that involved too. Yes, there is.
So
okay. But as far as Matt skills, I'm going with Bob Backlund.
I agree with you, but I don't want to undersell how good Cody Rhodes is in the ring. He's very
good. He's excellent. He's very fluid. He's excellent.
Great timing. Great timing.
Excellent in-ring worker.
I would almost fairly say to you, Jimmy, that Cody's timing is better than Bob's. Bob was a better wrestler.
Well,
Bob was more realistic.
Well, understand that everything today is much more choreographed. Okay,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's not. And Bob Backlund was not working with some of the guys that Cody works with, whether it's Rollins, whether it's Owens. Bob Backlund had to deal with Killer Khan, who had Bob.
That's the best point of the whole thing.
Bob
Who
Backlund had
Bob
to
had to
deal with
work
Angelo
with.
Mosca. Angelo
You're
Mosca's
right.
job was to punch and kick you.
You're so
Okay?
that's where you're right. The talent
And let me tell you
level
something
is
else
different.
too. People may not understand this, but the simple thing at the beginning of the fucking program back in the day on Channel 9, when Backlund did the roll up in the bridge, shit like that, people were not doing that on a regular basis.
Sure.
Backlund was the specialist. He was a wrestler's wrestler. And Cody
Agreed.
today is the wrestler's wrestler. But I just have more respect for the old school. And I think that Bob Backlund was better on the mat than Cody. Sue me. You know?
No, dude, I'm not, again, like I'm saying, you're without a doubt, you're right. It's just not so far. The gap is not that big. It's not like, oh shit, this is a blowout. Like that's all I'm
No.
trying to say.
No, it's not. Listen, to my credit, Graham and Reigns wasn't a blowout. All right?
No,
It's not.
absolutely not. And
It's
look,
not. And listen, and you know that we've always been consistent with our love for Hogan. Look, if without Hogan doing what he did and how the whole business changed, and considering without Graham, there's no Hogan, what are we even debating about? But I get it. You know, I'm like, are you kidding me? Like I said, years from now, if someone comes up through the pipeline that is clearly a Roman Reigns type and clearly was like, you know, and extends it and becomes like as big as Stone Cold Steve Austin, the way Hogan became the Austin of his genre, then yeah. But up until this point, I have not seen that yet, and I still think that time has to take care of that last great debate we were having, which was a great debate, which is why everybody tunes in anyway to see us go at it like this. But it's just true.
well,
to
I
me.
got to tell you, we've had many head-to-heads where it's not been. This is a heated. This is two heated head-to-heads. We've not really had that many heated ones.
Right.
I think Warrior Sting was the last one I remember, but
Right.
these are heated. And you know what?
Yeah.
I certainly respect and understand your opinion. I just
Yeah.
don't necessarily agree with it.
I
All
got
right.
you.
What do we got after this? We got Matt Skills, Mike Skills, back of the baseball card. Tough
All right,
one here, bro. If you say what you said to me in the car, I'm ready.
Well,
So let's do this.
you know, it's interesting too because I've been thinking about that because we did have this conversation earlier today, and I have to ask myself seriously, back of the baseball card. Okay, well, here it comes, and you will be probably a little disappointed with me, but I really thought about it because, you know, I process everything. Look, we don't always have to agree, but I take
Right.
your opinion seriously.
And same
So
here. Absolutely.
so I'm fucking thinking about it, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to give this to Bob fucking Backlund. At this day and time, the same
Right.
reason that I gave it to Graham on this day and time compared to Reigns' future impact of what he's going to do. All right? You're not going to be able to convince me. The more I think about it, and I give you credit for this, the more I think about it, you're not going to be able to convince me that to this point in time, that Cody Rhodes has surpassed the greatest face champion outside of Bruno in the history of this company, outside of Bruno, because Bruno is the greatest face ever in this company. That's all
Right.
there is to it. All
Agreed.
right. That for 6 years, Bob Backlund could go anywhere from here to the Omni to Japan, wrestle Inoki, and sell out no matter where the fuck this man went as the ultimate face, the ultimate athlete. Everything back then was given to us as real, and you couldn't get more real than an amateur champion using professional wrestling amateur type holds to hold that belt as long as he did. And when he walked into an arena, and especially a televised match, you and I would shit our pants because the champion is here.
Agreed.
6 fucking years of that. Now, to use your argument, hey, wrestling's bigger than it's ever been. All that fucking money. Cody's just main evented 2 WrestleManias. Well, here's the deal. The back of the baseball card is about what you've won,
Right.
what you've done. Cody has not been champion of the WWF, WWF, whatever the fuck you want to call it, for 6 years. Okay? He took him 2 WrestleManias to win the title. He won the title like he should have. He did. He deserved it. He's a great, great, great face champion. When I'm mentioning him along in the likes of Backlund, I have nothing but respect for Cody Rhodes. All right? But on this day, in this fucking year, right now, Cody Rhodes has not, in my mind, surpassed the guy who sold out up and down the East Coast, who was able to go to the Omni and sell out when he was fighting Race, whether he was fighting Flair, to go up to the AWA and sell out, whether he was fighting Backwinkel, to go fighting over in Japan with Inoki. No, you're not there yet. You're not there yet. I'm not giving you the back of the baseball card yet. Because right now it says that Bob Backlund was champion of the biggest goddamn fucking, you can say what you want, but there was a reason why at the end of the day, WWF came out on top, all right? There was a reason why Bruno Sammartino is the living legend. Look, all three old promotions were fucking fantastic, okay? But Bob Backlund was doing it up in New York. And the New York haters don't understand this. Well, I'm sorry. You know? What the? What the fuck? What the?
I was doing the old. I was doing the old.
Buttons?
No, I was doing the old like you were like doing an Oscar. I was trying to find like Oscar music, like the stuff that I'm sorry. I thought it was gonna be funny.
See, that's what you get for goofing around and not paying attention to the board. Hey, I wanted to ask you, how's your relationship with the Rascals nowadays? How's your book coming? You freaking racking razzle frazzing anyway. So anyway,
so we got Bob 2-1, right?
I do right now. I do. I can see why that could go the other way, but I don't think.
Well, I have a feeling it's going to go. So I agree with you 2-1, but I have a feeling now this is where it turns over. Right?
All right, go ahead.
So we're going to go with
you got it factor and influence on the business.
So we'll go with it factor first. I was trying to make a decision there. So it factor. I'll open up this one.
Yeah, go ahead.
Bob didn't have it factor.
No.
At all.
No.
Cody has a tremendous amount of in fact. This is in fact to me is a blowout. Now, as I've gotten older and we have learned to love Bob Backlund,
right,
still doesn't mean that he had it factor. And when it means it factor, when you saw Bob Backlund, you weren't like, "Oh my God, it's fucking Bob Backlund." You know what I mean? Cody Rhodes.
Charisma. That's for
Cody
sure.
Rhodes is like I could see wrestlers wanting to become people wanting kids going to become wrestlers because of Cody Rhodes. I can't see people wanting to become wrestlers because of Bob Backlund. So unfortunately for Bob, I'm going to have to give it to Cody by a large margin, making it 2-2. Your thoughts?
I agree with that completely. Now, I will say though that when Bob Backlund came out to the ring, being presented as the champion, being presented as the athlete, underline and circle that he was, there was an aura there. Usually Backlund would erase that aura with those terrible promos.
Yeah. Or let's be honest, dude.
Yeah.
The woes when he was in the ring. Whoa! Like people forget that. We watched a lot of Bob Backlund matches. There was a lot of like, hey, whoa! And it's like, what?
It sounds like that producer when we were trying to break up the Jannetty brawl. Whoa!
Whoa, dude.
Hey!
Whoa, dude.
Yeah.
All right. So overall influence on the industry. You've finished this one off, Jimmy.
All right. Well, you know what? This is where Cody does win this for me. 3-2 Cody. Cody Rhodes' influence on the industry has been pretty obvious. I mean, the whole reason why we've had about 12 or 13 years of independence mattering after WCW was crushed and bought and paid for. And yeah, we had little Ring of Honor here and there. And Spike TV tried to play an AEW imitation, bringing Hogan and Flair in or whatever the fuck they were trying to do. But Cody Rhodes, CM Punk, leaving and going their own way allowed the door to open for people like, and this gets back to Ring of Honor and stuff like that, opened the door for people like Kevin Steen, who became Kevin Owens, Samoa Joe, AJ Styles. We wouldn't have had all the options that we have today. Is that necessarily a good thing? To you and me who love WWE, maybe to a point, but not too much. But to the wrestling landscape as a whole, a place for other wrestlers to go and work, to learn their craft, to be paid decently, to not have to wrestle, like we saw at a little dock in Long Island and twist your leg up and have your girlfriend yell at you, shit like that. They opened up a whole nother world that Vince McMahon was forced to respond to. And as far as I'm concerned, Bob Backlund never did any of those things. Cody Rhodes is hugely important. You talk about impact.
Right.
Cody Rhodes is totally one of the major reasons why we have today's wrestling scene Wrestling's gatehouse. Wrestling's everything. Cody Rhodes, his
When
father would be so fucking proud of him
now, if
because
you,
he's an
Jimmy,
innovator.
if you would have asked me if it
Yeah.
was head to head Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes,
Mm-hmm.
I would say I'd give it to Cody Rhodes because overall influence on the industry,
Good
he
for you.
changed the landscape. He
Yes.
stripped the WWE. Like he gave alternatives. It was
Yes, he
his
did.
vision. I
It
mean,
was.
that to me is
No
like
AEW.
that's an overall
No
influence.
AEW without Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes created that fucking thing.
Listen, Ring of
You know?
Honor, all of it, dude.
Yeah.
He game changed it all. But here's the funny
Yep.
thing. I was
Yeah.
just thinking as you were speaking, I was thinking to myself, if I could go back time 10 years ago and 9 years ago, if someone would have told me that we were going to choose Cody Rhodes over Bob Backlund in a head to head,
Right.
I'd say you're fucking crazy. And
Right.
but Cody wins it, right?
But here we are. Absolutely. Here we are. Yeah, I completely agree with that. He changed everything. I mean, Mike, to be fair, I mean, just a couple of years ago, you used to ask me on the show all the time, do you think CM Punk has any value left? And what would I tell you?
Yeah.
He comes back home and he's written right. Notice it's not entirely up to him. Okay. If he comes back and he's written correctly and he's shown correctly and
Look,
he's booked correctly.
Dude, to be
Yeah, of
honest
course.
with you, I never have a problem being wrong. I'm wrong a lot. Like I would have never thought CM Punk would have value, but you know what? He has proven and look, it's funny. When we were doing a show and he was AEW, I felt very happy. I was like, I'm right. He has no value. He had
Right.
value for 2 weeks and he's useless. But now,
Right.
guess what? The guy's
Right.
got tons of value.
Right.
It's I have no problem being wrong. I always wonder myself, like, but you're right quite often in the
Right.
end of it all. But it's
Right.
weird how it all twists around. You would have never look. Cody Rhodes won me over when he ripped his pack. Remember when he ripped his pack?
Oh my God! Yeah.
That impressed the shit out of me. But I'm
It
still going to
should.
tell you, Cody Rhodes' lifespan is not long. He's going to have to turn heel. He's already losing momentum. I also blame the company. The company, you know what the problem? The company, we talked about Breaker and
Yeah.
Jay.
Mm-hmm.
Cody's in that same position. There's not enough bad guys for him.
Well,
There's
and
no
it's
one to
also
play against.
it's not just that there's not enough bad guys, which I agree with. The booking has been very safe. You know that Kevin is not beating him. You know that AJ is not beating him. The guys that they've been lighting up for him, sure, they're telling great matches. They're telling good stories. But when the fan knows deep down that there's really no issue here and the champion's going to walk out of there with the belt, you fall into a lull. And that's what I'm afraid of because there's a lot of the times there's a lot of safe booking ruins things. You don't want too much of that.
Let me ask you this though. How was Roman able to pull that off though? Because he had the same type of matches, but we all of a sudden were like, whoa, wait a minute. Whoa, wait a minute.
See, this gets back to Roman's great, and he developed this over the years. He didn't have this right away. Roman's ability to develop such hatred from those who root against him and such compassion for those that root for him made you believe that in times of doubt, if you were a fan of his, oh shit, he's going to lose. Because there was something underlying about the bloodline that made him an even better heel. Cowardly. The bloodline took every shortcut they could always take. So you always wondered at some point it's got to backfire against
Well,
him.
I
It's
also
got
think
to.
as his title reign grew and grew and grew, it was
Right.
like everybody's like, it's got to end. It's got to end. It's
Right.
got to end.
Right. Right. Well, you know what? Maybe that's just history repeating itself, at least when Vince was there. Now, let's not forget, Vince was there for most of Roman's most successful booking as a heel. All he ever gets is tattooed because he was always pushing him as a face. Well, he did change him. Vince did change him. Vince did make the call and made him a heel and did all of that shit. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that Reigns at the end of the day perfected that role. He was the best at it. Always made you wonder if he was going to lose. Just like Superstar Graham, I am positive because I remember I got to see a couple of his title defenses. My friend had Wometco Home Theater or some shit like that. I'm really going back, but in the 70s, before cable was born, there were these little independent cable type things trying to sell and make their way into everybody's household, and it was WHT, and they had the matches. So I got to go over there. I got to watch Superstar Graham defend his title, I think, twice. And at some point, several times during those matches, you thought he's going to lose. And that he would escape. Sound familiar?
Right. Yeah. No.
Sound
You're right.
familiar? And by the
Yep.
way, no Superstar Graham heel booking, no Ric Flair heel booking.
Right.
Because that's what Flair did for years and years and years. You fucking thought he's going to lose. This is it. He's about to lose to somebody he should lose to. You know, you'd look at the guys Ric Flair was in the ring with. I mean, the guy couldn't wrestle worth the shit. You're going to tell me Lex Luger didn't look believable, all jacked up? I mean, how did Flair get the fucking away with that? You'd think that because cowardly, totally hated by the people who hated him, and the fans who loved him knew that he was always nefarious. Like, oh shit, is this the match where it doesn't work out for him?
Right.
So that was the beauty of Roman Reigns' run.
I think you know what, dude. As you explain it, which you're eloquently doing, it makes you realize that how great wrestling can be, and what a world it can put you in of enjoyment. It kind of gets you out of up front. Anyway, 2.5 hours in, we got the Jet game. Great show. I want to thank everybody for joining us on Thursday. Jimmy, you want to send us out?
You've been watching a marathon episode of Monty and the Pharaoh. And until next week, later.